Hi, this is a short video explaining things about the state convention that's coming up. There's a link to a web page that contains all the information about convention, and so it's on the portal in two different locations on the bulletin board. And this is the page that ends up opening up. The Summit Latin State Convention. The cost is $260. It's from 1 p.m. February 19th to about 5 on the 21st. It's at the Doubletree Hotel by Hilton in Columbus. The students will remain in the hotel the whole time, and Mrs. Ashcraft and I and 3 parent chaperones will be there. This is our 17th year of going to convention. We've never had any issues about student behavior. The requirements: every student needs to work to try to contribute points to the Summit team, and there are a number of ways to do that. And this website contains all of the information to fulfill those requirements. There is a letter that I've emailed him before, which has very general information about the convention, and you can read through this. In addition, there's another letter that contains various ways that students can contribute to the Summit team. There's no minimum number of projects that are required, but we always ask the students to continue to work to try to earn points. One, they can study for academic tests. There are 9 different ones. Every student's going to take 6 while they're there. There are 3 test sessions, so they'll take at least 2 tests at each of the 3 sessions. I'm going to show you in a moment ways to study for the academic tests, but this is one way to contribute. There are a number of different artistic projects. The Virgil project that everyone did earlier this year would count if it's convention worthy, if it's good enough. And if you click on this link, it has tons of 35 different art projects that you can do if the student is artistically inclined. There are a number of ways if the student is better at performance kind of art, where they can memorize a Latin passage and present it to judges like me. They can memorize an English passage. They can make up their own speeches. They can also dress up in a costume, and there's all sorts of information about that. And all of this is contained on this web page. Every student will be required to complete at least one of the pre-convention projects, and it's called pre-convention because they're due on Wednesday, January 13th. And this page has all the different rules. Modern Myth is kind of a creative arts project. And then lastly, we will be having tryouts in early February for the Curtamen teams. And there are a number of different ways to study for this. And it's all contained on the web page, Study Materials for Academic Tests in Curtamen. And I can talk to students and direct them to the most important information if they want to study history, or if they want to study myth, or the Latin language. I have tons of different materials that they can do. In terms of the pre-convention projects, if you go over here to the side for contests at convention, and then you go to pre-convention contests. It lists the various types of projects. A good time to work on the pre-convention projects and all the projects in general is over the Christmas break, because everyone has some free time during the 2 weeks of Christmas break. But everyone's got to do at least one of these, and I always recommend to students that they do more than one. A cartoon, kind of a panel storytelling cartoon, the Modern Myth that I was talking about, the same way the myth of Arachne explains why they're spiders, and the myth of Daphne explains the existence of a laurel tree, and the abduction of Persephone explains the existence of the change of seasons. The student makes up their own story. One recommendation that I have is things like, and don't use this because everyone does it, why there's snow, and you make up your own story about that. Multimedia for those people who are technologically inclined, also poetry, All of these are due before convention, and every student has to do at least one. And the last thing I'd like to mention on this are the various creative arts that students can do. They can dress up in a costume, and this is not the whole convention. They present the costume in about a 5-minute presentation to judges, again, Latin teachers like me, and they research these characters, and then they create a costume sort of showing the things that they've learned about the characters. Latin recitation is where they memorize a short Latin passage. Dramatic interpretation is where they memorize a passage in English and present it to judges. And then I always recommend to students that they do English oratory or a monologue, because no one ever does these, because you have to make up your own speech, memorize it, and then present it to judges. And it's difficult to do, but because there are fewer entries, there's more opportunities for students to win points at convention. If you have any questions about convention, please make sure that you consult the web page that's been started here with all the different study materials that we have, or you can email me or Mrs. Ashcraft, or you can give me a call, and my number is in the general information about convention. So we hope that you're able to attend convention this year. Thanks.